Hello everyone, I am Piyush Goyal and I welcome you to Voxcel's YouTube channel. So this is another video in our series of true, false and not given. So without further delay, let's dive right in. So you know the ritual, we'll first read the paragraph title of the passage. Is there such a thing as Canadian English? If so, what is it? So in this paragraph, we may be given about information about what kind of English Canadians use, what's the difference of English of Canadians, Americans, or other English-speaking countries. Maybe or maybe not, but what we will do, we will not read the passage, we will dive straight to the questions and read the first question. We have to write true, false and not given. Obviously, first question, Canadian English is considered more like British English by Canadians. So Canadian English, so the English being spoken in Canada, it is considered more like British English by Canadians. Maybe the world is considering this English related to some other country, but Canadians, they think they speak British English, or their more English is more closer to the British ones rather than, I basically believe, American. Okay, so when the answer will be true, when Canadians think of their English as a British English, when the answer will be false, when Canadians think their English is not like the British but maybe like American or Australian, when it will be not given, when we don't know with whom Canadians compared their English proficiency with. Okay, the standard stereotype among Americans is that Canadians are like Americans, except they say a lot and pronounce out and about as oot and boot. So, but they are this thing is being thought by Americans, not Canadians. So we don't know about the Canadians. Many Canadians, so here is our locator word. Many Canadians, on the other hand, will tell you that Canadian English is more like British English. So Canadians, what do they think? They think that their English is more like the British one. As a proof, we'll hold aloft the spelling color with U. Obviously, Americans don't use U and center with RE. Americans write ER and the name Z for the letter. Americans usually pronounce it as Z. So they are saying that they are more like British English rather than the American ones. But Americans think they are like us, but not Canadians. They don't think so. So Canadian English is considered more like British English. The answer to this should be true. Second question, according to the second paragraph, so here is our locator. So we know our answer should be in second paragraph. Canadian English is pretty similar to British with some minor differences. So we know Canadian English is similar to British from the first paragraph, although, but here we have to understand there are differences, but the differences are minor, meaning to say there are not major differences. So if there are minor differences or maybe subtle differences, you can say, we'll say the answer is true. But if there are major differences, we'll say false. But if we don't know about what type of differences are there, like are the differences major or minor, we'll say not given. So Canadian does exist as a separate variety of British English with certainly distinctive features of pronunciation and vocabulary. So the difference are subtle meaning minor. So there are differences, but the differences are minor. So even the question is saying with some minor differences. So we know from the first sentence itself the answer to this should be true. Moving on to the next one. The St. Lawrence River was colonized by Canadians in 1600. Okay, let me change the color. Just 1 second. Okay, so when the answer will be true, when this particular river was first captured by Canadians in 1600. When the answer will be false, when Canadians captured this or colonized this river in like 17 something, 18 something, okay, something, or 15 something like that, or 1600 something, some other year than 1600, or when it was colonized by some other nationality and not Canadians, we will say the false. When it will be not given, when we don't know when this particular river was colonized or who colonized it, so we'll say not given. Okay, so in this particular question, until I find 1600, we do not need to read all the information. We'll find 1600 first, then we will read the information carefully. Until then, we will skim the paragraph. Okay, there is no 1600 here. Okay, indigenous, linguistic, no 1600 till here. There is no 1600 European settlers. Okay, here is 1600. Okay, the French, starting in the 1600s, colonized the Saint Lawrence River region and the Atlantic south coast of it. In the mid 1700s, England got into war with France, concluding with the Treaty of Paris in 1763. So, who colonized this river? The French, not the Canadians. Canadians didn't colonize it, but it was the French. So, the answer to this should be false. Are you getting me? Hope it is clear. Moving forward, Canadian English is considered neither American nor not American. Okay, this is quite a tricky question. We'll read it again. Canadian English is considered neither, okay, American nor not American, meaning to say neither nor, meaning to say they are not considered American and they are not considered not American, meaning to say they are not considered American and not American. So when the answer will be true, when they are not considered both of these things, when the answer will be false, there can be two, or like in my mind, on top of my mind there are two options coming. Either they are considered one of this, like either or, maybe both. So when the answer can be false, when it will be not given, when we don't know if they are considered American or not American. So we'll read from here. In the mid the English allowed any French to stay who were willing to become subjects of the English king. At the time of the Treaty of Paris, however, there were very few English speakers in Canada. The American Revolution changed that. The founding English-speaking people of Canada were United Empire Loyalists, people who fled American independence and were rewarded with land in Canada. Thus, Canadian English was from its very beginning both American, because its speakers had come from the American colonies, and not American because they rejected the newly independent nation. Okay, so it's quite tricky question. If you can pause the video and think about an answer and then resume it, it would be very beneficial for you. And now I'll continue telling you the answer. The answer, first I'll tell you the answer. The answer to this should be, drum roll please, false. So many of you will get confused. Here it is written American. Okay, here it is written American. Here it is written not American. So why the answer is false? Here it is also written like this, American and not American. But neither and nor, meaning to say both are incorrect. So in simpler terms, neither nor means both terms are incorrect. But here the keyword is both. And what does both mean? Both terms are correct. So that's why the answer to this will be false. Are you getting my point? Hope it is clear. If not, you can rewatch this particular section of the video, and if it is clear, we will move forward. The fifth paragraph states that many English-speaking countries adopted changes in pronunciation. So in the fifth paragraph, we know the location here. Many English-speaking countries, okay, what they did was okay, let me change the color. what they did was they adopted changes in pronunciation. So whatever the changes in pronunciation occurred at that particular time, they adopted those pronunciation features. So when the answer will be true, okay, I forgot to tell you about that or ask you about that. When the answer will be true, yes, when many speaking countries did that. When the answer will be false, when not many, just one or two countries did that, or when no country did particular changes in the pronunciation, we will say false. When it will be not given, when we don't know whether many countries adopted it or whether they didn't adopt it. Okay, just as the Americans sought to have a truly distinct independent American version of English, the Loyalists sought to remain more like England, sort of. These were people whose variety of English was already diverging from the British and vice versa. When the residents of London and its environs began to drop their r's, r's and change some of their vowels, people in certain parts of United States adopted some of these changes, but Canadians did not. Okay, so the residents in London, they were dropping their R's in their pronunciation, okay, and some changes to their vowels. So some parts of United States adopted these changes, but Canadians didn't adopt these changes. But what about other speaking countries? Did they adopt these changes in pronunciation? We don't know about that. We only know about United States. And many of you will be thinking why we are saying not given and why not false, because here they're saying United States did that and Canadians did not do that. So obviously many countries, United States is a one country, so it should be false. No, here it could be false or could have been false if it was written and only certain parts of United States adopted that and not the rest of the world. So we could have said false, but here we know about US or some parts of the US, but what about the other speaking countries like Australia, New Zealand, or other parts of Europe? Okay, we don't know about that, so we'll say not given. Okay, we'll check the answers. True, true, false, false, not given. True, true, false, false, not given. So this is how you should solve your true, false, not given. I hope this video has made it a bit more clear. If you still have doubts, there are lots of other videos on this particular subject of true, false, not given. You can go and watch those videos. They will surely help you to clear your doubts and clear your concepts and make the reading that much easier for you to attempt. And if you need our help, I'm gonna leave the link to our website in our description, my description box. You can go and click at that link and you can contact us from there. We have helped like hundreds of students to get band 7 or higher in their writing and their speaking. And if you want to become our next success story, please contact us. We will be happy to help you. We will tell you how the examiners look at your writing and listen to your speaking and what you are doing wrong that is stopping you from getting your elusive 7 or higher in your writing and speaking, or even your reading, or even in your listening, whatever the module is. We will be glad to help you. And with that note, I'm gonna end this video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.